Matthew "FormaL" Piper competed at his first event way back at 2009's MLG Anaheim at just 14 years of age. A top 32 placing that would steadily improve over the coming years, with his first big moment arriving at MLG Dallas 2011, now on Halo Reach, placing 5th on a team named Seoul. Just across the tournament hall was Scump, winning his first championship in Call of Duty, and whose path was now on a collision course with FormaL. His raw aim, renowned proficiency with the sniper rifle, and coolness under pressure were getting noticed by established names, and he would move teams in search of better opportunities after almost every event, a ruthless ambition that remained for his entire career. After his first ever third place finish at Raleigh on Believe the Hype, he ditched that roster for Dynasty. This paid off in spades at 2011's MLG Orlando, dominating the grand finals against some former and some future teammates to take his first championship victory.
Just crazy headshots with the sniper, and especially on this map he gets crazy angles. You see there, 2 for 2 with the headshots.
Power up outside. FormaL is just going to sit here, and he is going to be 3 for 3 with this sniper. FormaL, it has to be the hair. It can't. It makes no sense. I'm stupid.
It could be, but there it is. 4 for 4. That's 4 straight headshots from FormaL.
One shot is 3, Blaze. Blaze, one shot is 3. There's the top drop. It's hiding the top drop. It's hiding the top drop. Go back.
Anyone in position, and there it is.
Oh my God.
Dynasty wins MLG Orlando.
But FormaL would soon come to learn that getting to the top is one thing, staying there is quite another. After only finishing 5th at the National Championship, FormaL teamed up with APG for the first time, and definitely not the last time, to form Ambush. Despite trying many roster iterations, this team could do no better than 3rd in the final events of the Halo Reach season. Halo 4 launched in November 2012, but was dwarfed by the parallel release of Call of Duty Black Ops 2. The lack of developer support for the competitive Halo scene, combined with the explosive growth of Call of Duty, put MLG in a tricky position. Following the first Halo 4 event at MLG Dallas, Halo was axed from the circuit. The future of the esport was deeply at risk. AGL, the Arena Gaming League, attempted to pick up where MLG had left off. Unfortunately, with smaller prize pools and questionable business practices, the size of the competitive scene became unsustainable. Meanwhile, FormaL had not yet turned 18 and was eager to take advantage of the opportunity. He tasted glory again at AGL Chicago, barely winning $1,000 each, but a world-starring Ninja in the grand finals.
Every time! I got one.
The roster then surprisingly removed APG in favour of Pistola, the consequences of which echo through time. However controversial though, this move proved the catalyst for their domination, winning 3 straight events at Nashville, Knoxville, and UMG Chicago.
FormaL with the sniper here, he's just stopping his flag run every single time. He has another guy connect to the body, that's going to be a double kill. And he's just waiting. He sees the grenade. Oh, the triple! Where's the over? FormaL has the guy. Oh!
With the Halo circuit in disarray, FormaL decided the time had come to move on from his favourite game. Attending Anaheim in June 2013 cemented this decision, where he has since been spotted in the crowd spectating Scump's famous Yemen Hardpoint 3-piece and the grand finals itself. Despite practically zero competitive Call of Duty experience, the majority of top Halo pros attempted to make the switch. Only the best of the best could make it stick at a professional level in both titles, and FormaL was already getting attention from big names at his first event in COD Ghosts. FormaL saw an opportunity and grabbed it with both hands, even if that meant leaving Ace and Snakebite in the dust, joining Team Fear with Dido, and then Team Caliber with Sharp, Theory, and Goonjar. Multiple pros were not best pleased that this Halo star was stepping right into a top COD team with barely any experience, and he expected to get the blame if they failed to meet expectations.
But on TK, it's a little different. Like, if we place out of the top 2, first people are going to blame me. Like, I'm going to be the first to blame because they've gotten second with so many people where they placed top 3 for so long that if they don't place top 3, then people are going to be like, oh, what are they doing wrong now? Oh, probably that Halo guy, you know.
Qualifying for the World Championship in April, FormaL faced off against Scump's Optic Gaming for the very first time in Winners Round 1. He was already gaining a reputation in the community after his team-hopping shenanigans as somewhat of a snake to teammates and an arrogant youngster. This story from Scump gives some insight as to why.
Like, I didn't know, I knew who he was, but I didn't know him at all. He comes up to me and he's like, it's your chance to finally play me on LAN.
We're backstage behind the octagon.
Yeah, we're about to play. It was us first TK, our Winners Round 1. And I'm like, okay. And then we
like,
just 3-0 him in literally
I was like
20
trying to get
minutes.
into his head or something. Yeah. I was like, I heard you're pretty good. I get to play me now. And then like you just get 3 out in 20 minutes. I was just backing my shit. I was just backing my shit up all pissed. I was just like,
after being 3-0'd by Optic Gaming and having to eat some humble pie, within 30 days he'd upgraded his organisational clout to FaZe Black. A pair of 5th place finishes with Doug Martin followed, but FormaL was already establishing himself as an undeniable talent. Almost every team was eager to bring him into their roster, his pure ability outweighing any potential baggage. By August, he had taken his talents to Envy, who were looking for redemption after another 2nd place finish at Champs that year. Just a few months into his Call of Duty journey, and at the height of the Vector SMG meta, despite being known primarily for his AR play in later years, FormaL elevated to best in the game status for the first time at Gfinity 3. Dispatching Optic 3-0 in groups and losing just one map all tournament, FormaL dropped a 1.35 overall KD, highest of anyone, with a 1.86 in Search and Destroy, to become the first player in history to win a LAN event in both Halo and now Call of Duty.
Ever since I switched, I never thought that I would actually win one, and now that I did, man, I'm just happy I did along with these guys.
But roster chaos was brewing yet again, and FormaL's next destination was the hot topic as Call of Duty entered the jetpack era, and Optic Gaming were now looking for a new main assault rifle. Optic FormaL became official on November the 6th, 2014, being leaked on their website and subsequently confirmed by Scump. Contrary to the fan perception of FormaL today, this was a deeply unpopular decision at the time. Clayster had been loyal to Optic and brought them glory at the X Games, but was now getting dropped for a known team sketcher and unproven talent across multiple Call of Duty titles. Some pros still believed FormaL was a ghoster, a player only good at COD Ghosts, and expected to fall off massively into the 2015 season. But FormaL could not have been more confident, stating they would bring championships to the Green Wall with their new roster of Scump, FormaL, Crimsix, and Nadeshot. And so began an unprecedented 3-year streak of dominance in Call of Duty history, one which may never again be repeated. The fans' opinions of FormaL were quickly turning as well, with his charismatic and at times hilarious bromance with Scump blossoming in early 2015. They developed the iconic phrase "time to pound" to refer to the duo, such was their tendency as an SMG and AR combo. FormaL and Scump won 20 events in all their time together, starting at UMG Orlando before dominating Season 1 with a 38-6 online record and the LAN Championship. 2 weeks later, they won the NA Regional Finals with an astonishing 18-1 map count for their 3rd straight title. Understandably, the #1 seed and heavy favourites going into FormaL's 2nd World Championship. Everything was going to plan after groups, but they fell to eventual champions Denial in Winners Round 1, before being eliminated in 7th place by Patrick Eggs Price and his FaZe Red lineup. Complacency may have played a part, and FormaL still had much to learn, but a roster change was brewing. Surrounded by star players, Nadeshot was taking the full heat of the Optic fanbase after every defeat, and retired to pursue content and other ventures. The obvious replacement was Damon Karma Barlow, but while the Canadian got his visa sorted, Optic had to travel to Europe for back-to-back events. FormaL helped draft in Enable, the only other Halo pro to successfully make the switch in 2014, whom FormaL teamed with during his first event back in Ghosts. Such was the dominance of this Optic core, they won both events in Europe with Enable and made every single Grand Finals with Karma until the end of the season, winning 4 more events in the process. FormaL also established his sniper rifle play as the best in the world, hitting some unreal clips all season long.
Yeah, gonna be tough for Elevate to take this one. Another snipe from FormaL. 2 picks in a row for him. Sniper starting to heat up, always dangerous if that's happening. Sees another one at the green shack, going for the sniper ace now. Sees the last one, glowing orange. There it is. FormaL with the snipe, getting that ace. We've seen it all year from him, not slowing down at all here at the last event.
FormaL's heartbreak and frustration at not winning champs again was evident. And although the roster had survived 2 years since picking up the supposed Team Sketcher, their future was far from guaranteed. If Karma didn't clutch the legendary 1v1 against Fastballer at CWL Atlanta during Optic's eventual Grand Finals run, they would have placed 6th or worse in 3 straight tournaments, and would certainly have gone their separate ways.
Right. If Damon didn't win that 1v1, our team was chalked for sure. I was gone. 100%. I don't know, the amount of frustration that was just lingering around that time period in my head, it was a lot of frustration, man. It was a really depressing time.
Catalyzed by this comeback run to the Atlanta Finals, and knowing they still had what it takes to win as a team, Optic locked in and turned up, triumphing at 3 more events, including the penultimate tournament. For the 3rd year running, they arrived to champs expected to win. Through focused practice, dedication, and commitment to his craft, FormaL had become a truly complete player. Not just his raw aim mechanics, positioning, game knowledge and awareness, but his astonishingly concise and effective communication. Known as the human UAV for the majority of his career, there was no man on planet Earth that would have been a more ideal teammate that weekend.
FormaL doing it all for Optic Gaming. The curse has been broken. The dynasty has been cemented. They are the greatest roster in Call of Duty history.
Unanimously considered the best tournament performance from an individual in Call of Duty history, FormaL's 1.44 overall KD, including a 1.49 in hardpoints, has set the bar ever since. An outstanding performance from a deserving world champion at last. Presented by Prize Picks, the home of daily fantasy. Pick over-unders for the CDL, like whether Scump will get more or less than 59.5 kills over the first 3 maps. And pair your pick with another from Call of Duty, or from any of the numerous other sports and esports where Prize Picks offer lines. Fancy your favourite NBA player scoring over 14 points? Add it to your entry. Select flex or power play depending on your confidence, and enjoy up to $100 match deposit when you sign up to Prize Picks using the link in the description box below. Use code BreakingPoint to let them know we sent you. But tensions were still lingering under the surface. The 2017 season was far from smooth sailing, and Optic had always relied on their talent rather than fundamental good play. That philosophy would not fly as Call of Duty returned to the slower-paced, more strategic style required in World War II. After losing in a double best-of-5 to FaZe Clan at Stage 1 playoffs in unbelievable circumstances, the writing was on the wall.
Seems to be dead. The comeback seems to be dead. He runs through his own artillery. He runs through his own artillery, and now it's a 1 versus 1. Oh my God, Crim's hitting mid-map. Attach comes back. Here's the gunfight. Attach is able to win it. FaZe Clan up 2-0 with the 1-5 comeback.
And then it was just like, that was the closest we were going to get in that game for sure. I don't know, it just wasn't in the cards, man. And like, in hindsight, it's easy to say now, like, if we were to have beaten FaZe at that final, we probably would have stuck together for a lot longer. We probably would have played the whole year and probably would still be a team right now. No bullshit. Like, I don't know, it just wasn't in the cards, and we were all fed up with each other.
FormaL knew he had to leave for the greater good, and was traded to Luminosity Gaming, with Octane going the other way. After beating Optic and outplacing them at CWL Anaheim, FormaL then saw his former team bombing out of the 2018 World Championship in the group stages. Certainly he didn't regret the decision to leave.
When you look back on this year, is there ever a point where you think, I've made a mistake by leaving Optic and forcing the move to L3?
No, not really. I mean, like, I wouldn't consider it a mistake. I think that we just didn't play to our potential off the rip.
By this time, Champs FormaL was becoming an iconic feature of the season finale, and he delivered some stellar performances yet again. While falling just shy of another Grand Finals appearance, his LG roster took the scalps of Contenders Rise Nation and still delivered a 1.38 KD, the highest in the tournament by far. Many Optic fans still wanted to see FormaL succeed, but he hadn't yet proven decisively that breaking up the dynasty was best for both parties. Black Ops 4 was a turning point. not only with competitive becoming 5v5, but with Optic triumphing at Vegas with new talent Dashi, and FormaL finally lifting another trophy at CWL Fort Worth. However, the remainder of the season wasn't pretty for either roster. Luminosity had heaps of internal drama, so much so that Gunless was benched for their coach towards the end of the year. Optic also struggled to hit their early season form and were ripe for a roster change with the introduction of the Call of Duty League. Franchising shook up the whole scene, and with the collapse of the dynasty well over a year in the past, time had healed most wounds between Scump and FormaL. Scump was eager to upgrade their main AR position from Crimsix, with FormaL the obvious candidate. T2P was back together, this time on the Chicago Huntsman, the new home of the Green Wall after Immortal's acquisition of Optic. They started the season just like old times, defeating Crimsix's Dallas Empire at the launch weekends and again in the finals of the London home series, in what would be FormaL's final ever Call of Duty tournament victory on LAN. The season was postponed in March 2020 due to the pandemic, and the CDL turned to solely online play for the next 14 months. The lack of in-person events and the deteriorating quality of the recent COD games started to take its toll on FormaL. While he was still, on occasion, the best player in the lobby, it seemed to many that the days of vintage FormaL were coming to a close. They won the Seattle home series online in May, but could only manage 4th at Champs. To make matters worse, youngster Shotzi won both Champs, albeit online, and the MVP award that season, to add to his Halo 5 World Championship win in 2018. Shotzi made the switch to COD in 2019 for similar reasons to FormaL 6 years prior, and quickly had the accolades to mount a convincing challenge to FormaL's status. The Black Ops Cold War season felt much the same for FormaL, as the online era was draining his passion for playing the game at the highest level. Even with a new look roster, now under the Optic brand again, FormaL had lost that fearsome energy and fired up demeanour that terrified opponents in years past. While statistically he was still solid and his communication still impeccable, he rarely had those pop-off series and was no longer Optic's most reliable slayer. As results continued to slide, other teams seemed aware that FormaL's days in Call of Duty were numbered. Kenny even declared that he was clearly the worst player on Optic's lineup.
Yeah, who's the worst player on Optic Gaming?
Alright, so FormaL's the worst player on their team right now.
Bowing out of the World Championship with only a 6th place finish and not seeing a Grand Finals all year, a team change was inevitable. Instead of seeking another roster, FormaL's fire had flamed out, and he confirmed his retirement from competition on the 28th of August 2021. An emotional day for FormaL and the Call of Duty scene at large.
Just like your dedication to it is not there.
Yeah. I mean, over the years, it's just kind of like, I don't know if it's like the online era of COD that's kind of like been the final, like, you know, the thing that drained me, like, final, but it's just getting on and screaming every day. It's just like not it for me anymore, man. And I might just need a break from it for a little bit.
Yeah.
And I mean like a year break, and maybe I'll want to do it again. But for right now, like just that whole process of just scrimming and trying to get good and get better as a team, it's just not sounding like fun to me right now. I've said it before in an interview that if I were to ever like be costing my team or, you know, not putting my best foot forward, then why the fuck am I wasting my time with them? Like these guys are in the prime of their careers, you know, like these young guys. And I'm not gonna sit there and be like, you know, I just don't want these kids to waste their prime years on, you know, me giving half-ass, you know, seasons.
And that looked like the end, the final chapter of a legendary career. The journey into content creation like so many before him beckons. But just at that moment, Halo Infinite arrived. The first mainline Halo release in 6 years, FormaL immediately found it a refreshing change from recent Call of Duties. Within just a few days, FormaL realised he wasn't washed, he hadn't lost his ability. For a game he enjoyed, the passion to compete was quickly flooding back. FormaL being called FormaL, team offers were coming in, but he wanted to ensure it didn't mean leaving Optic again.
Yeah, if I can like play under that team while also playing under Optic, then I'll do it.
FormaL confirmed he was joining FaZe on a loan arrangement for HCS Raleigh, the opening event of the season. But 2 days later he was dropped, with Snipedown making his transition back to Halo from Apex Legends. Some thought the worst of the situation, suggesting FormaL was past it and the Halo return would not go to plan. But FormaL was keen to play regardless and accepted an offer from Space Station Gaming before drama struck the legendary Sentinels lineup just 1 week out from the tournament. Royal 2, who had just won the Raleigh qualifier, was suspended for 2 months after it was discovered that he was geofiltering. Sentinels needed one. Who could they possibly call? FormaL had come full circle back to its Ghosts days, being on 4 organisations in a matter of weeks. And things were getting spicy at the Hex quarters, with FormaL now practicing for Raleigh with a powerhouse team just across the room from Optic's actual Halo team with Trippy, Lucid, Pistola and old friend APG. FormaL rocked up to HES Raleigh for his first Halo event in 7 years, since winning the MCC Launch Invitational with Lethal and APG back in 2014. Sentinels had to fight all the way through open brackets after the pre-tournament drama and eventually played Optic in Winners Round 2.
Here comes the push from FormaL. He's not going to be able to stop him. And with only a few seconds remaining, it's going to be Optic Gaming with a 3-0 sweep over the Sentinels here in Winners Round 2.
Caught off guard playing a squad that can actually shoot back, they fell 3-0. But 4 series victories later, including one against Space Station, a rematch was in order.
One of the biggest stories in the Halo Championship Series might be ended here by FormaL with the rocket launcher. Sentinels pack the bags of Optic Gaming and send them home.
Dropping 20 kills there in that last Slayer. You played these guys yesterday. You guys lost 3-0. What was the difference coming today?
I mean, yesterday it just wasn't really us. We kind of like weren't really ready to play a team like that. We were playing AM teams the whole event, and they're obviously a really good team. So it made it really hard for us, and we got caught off guard. We just, I don't know, went back to the drawing board. Today we came in, we were like red hot from our other matches, and luckily we got the game 5.
A last-minute substitute, knocking out his own organisation. You just couldn't write these storylines. Sentinels lost to FaZe in the next round, but FormaL had made his statement.
So like, I'm just like a hired like mercenary right now. Like, you need a substitute, like I'm your guy. But after this event, I would really like to play with the team.
FormaL was forced to the sidelines for over 2 months to wait for an opportunity. Meanwhile, Optic were delivering better performances, but never managing to beat Cloud9, the dominant force of the day. Capped off with another Grand Finals defeat to Cloud9 at HES Anaheim, they decided enough was enough. Pistola out, FormaL in. All those years ago, when his career was barely starting, FormaL was instrumental in dropping APG for Pistola. Now it was APG involved in dropping Pistola for FormaL. FormaL was desperate to bring more championships to the Green Wall, and despite winning an online invitational, they yet again tasted defeat to Cloud9 in Kansas. A controversial roster change for the same result. But with every headshot registered, every match completed, FormaL was regaining his comfort zone on a franchise he hadn't touched for several years.
Look at the also they're going to paint up Stellar here on the scoreboard, make it 11-5. When you're a player like Lucid, killing spree by the wow, my God!
Optic soon began to hit untouchable form online, winning 4 straight tournaments, including the Super, for a $45,000 first prize. HCS Orlando was next, the site of 3 previous FormaL victories, 2 in COD and his first ever trophy way back in 2011. Dominating the previous weeks of online play, Optic were barraged by accusations of being onliners and aimed steadfast on tucking the haters into bed.
FormaL's 14-4 as they cross the 48 kill mark. Send in FormaL. 49. FormaL might be the man to do it for Optic. FormaL and Trippy.
Optic were untouchable from start to finish. The human UAV was back in action, defeating Cloud9 in the finals for FormaL's first LAN triumph in almost 3 years. Not for the first time in FormaL's career, they arrived at the 2022 World Championship as heavy favourites, with another $1 million on the line. Friday and Saturday passed without hitch, dropping just 1 map on their way to the Grand Finals. The crowning achievement of a glittering career was all but secured. But then Optic discovered who their grand finals opponents would be. None other than Cloud9.
Noise for Cloud9! Pop it off, and maybe that's exactly what he's starting to do. Make it a double for FormaL.
Sometimes you need someone to step up, and FormaL said, I ain't here to lose this series. I want to gain a world championship, and now he is taking Cloud9 apart. Trade. One push is all they need. Stellar's going to go in first. Big damage. Doesn't take damage himself. The defensive nade down come in. But Optic, they're not going to be able to do it. C9 reset the bracket here in Seattle.
Concern was mounting. But coming from the winner's bracket and having not lost a series until this one in the tournament, they had one final chance. One more best of 7 for glory. FormaL had seen this very moment coming.
Like, maybe there's a reason for me wanting to actually play. Because I was pretty dead set on just like retiring. But something is just drawing me back in. It's like Fate was saying, like, nah, you're not done writing your story yet. Like, you gotta keep going for a sec. Like, just a few more years, because like there's something crazy that comes along the way, you know. And that's what kind of motivates me daily, like, in hopes of that moment.
Your last player live, they're gonna get this going. Front seat, no doubt. 7 seconds left.
7 seconds left. The NA Super was the first step. It was this game type. Orlando was the second, and now the journey is complete. Optic Gaming, the green wall.
You started your career here in Halo. We've seen you play so many amazing matches. You had a national championship in a different game, but you came back home and you got one for Halo. What does this mean for you?
I mean, these last couple years have been pretty tough in Call of Duty, so I don't know. This was just like a dream come true. I'm just really proud of us, and I'm thankful as hell for you guys, and I'm happy to take it home.
Bringing together all of his years of experience, pure ability, and a deeply refined understanding of successful team dynamics, Optic FormaL lifted the championship, helped by a monster 1.23 tournament KD performance from a champion reborn. 4,026 days after his first Halo victory, and 423 days after he announced his retirement, FormaL had won the big one. The first player ever to win both Call of Duty and Halo World Championships on LAN. Rewriting the record books with a journey that few others have the ambition, let alone the ability, to accomplish. Others may well surpass him in time, but FormaL is still the one they're all compared to, still the one you have to take the crown from, and still #1.